Okay, so Xempire, you've been grinding away, farming those tokens, right? And now the question on everyone's mind is, how much is that digital stack actually worth?
Right.
Well, today, we're diving deep, really deep, into this Xempire airdrop allocation. We'll break down why timing was everything in this case, what criteria actually made a difference, and how to figure out what your share of the pie might actually look like.
Yeah, and what's so fascinating here is the way Xempire structured this entire airdrop. It wasn't just, showing up. It was really about rewarding those who got in early. Really dove headfirst into what they're building.
Yeah, they really weren't subtle about that, were they? I mean, the sources made it super clear. The earlier you jumped into the Xempire game, the better your position in this whole airdrop thing.
Yeah, and that's something we're seeing more and more of in the crypto space, right? It's like these projects, they're realizing how important it is to incentivize those early birds, the ones who are willing to take a little risk.
Yeah, the ones who jump in when it's still early, still forming.
Exactly. They are crucial for building momentum.
Yeah, it's like those limited edition sneakers, the ones that sell out instantly.
Yeah,
There's that scarcity, that exclusivity. It just gets people fired up.
exactly. And for Xempire, that translated into potentially getting a much bigger piece of that sweet airdrop pie.
Okay, but let's get specific. We keep saying early, early, early. But what does that actually mean when we're talking about this Xempire ecosystem? Was it just about like creating a login on day one and that's it?
Not quite, no. While getting in early, definitely crucial, Xempire, they took it a step further, right? They had this whole concept of halving.
Having.
So picture this, yeah, imagine this pool of tokens, right? This is what they're going to use for the airdrop. But here's the catch. Every week, the number of tokens you could earn, for doing certain things like completing a task or hitting a milestone, it gets cut in half.
So like if you were there in those first few weeks, grinding it out when the rewards were high, you were earning tokens way faster than someone who, maybe joined a month or two down the line.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, imagine a gold rush, right?
Yeah.
And you got there early, you've got a bigger shovel than everyone else. Those who saw that opportunity, who understood how this whole airdrop was structured, they're the ones sitting on a mountain of tokens right now.
Which makes understanding the specific criteria for this airdrop really important.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't just about, as you said, being early. There were other things they were looking at.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Getting in early, understanding that halving thing, that was key. But Xempire, they actually had a whole bunch of criteria that determined your final piece of the pie.
So even if you weren't there right at the beginning, you could still boost your potential share of tokens.
Yeah.
So what were the things they considered?
Well, aside from the obvious, like connecting your wallet, actually playing the game, Xempire, they wanted to see users, really diving into their whole ecosystem, really engaging with it.
Okay, so like what does that actually look like? Give me an example.
All right, so let's say you were using TON.
Right, they're cryptocurrency.
Exactly. You are making transactions with it. That's engagement. That shows them you're willing to use their platform beyond just the game itself. And that, my friend, that played a role in your overall allocation.
So they're rewarding users who are all in, not just players, but participants. Right?
100%. And it didn't even stop there. Remember, we talked about those boosts earlier.
Right, those could really ramp up your earning potential.
Exactly.
And they were often tied to, like inviting friends or...
Yeah, inviting friends, owning certain NFTs, or even avatars that were connected to Xempire. So you really had to be plugged in.
Yeah, it's like you're playing the main game, but then there's this whole other level, this metagame almost.
Right.
Of understanding all the tokenomics, figuring out how the allocation works, how to play to your advantage,
Yeah, and that's what's so key here. This is where we see how important knowledge is in the crypto world. If you understand these projects inside and out, that's how you grab those opportunities.
Yeah. So let's say you were all over Xempire, right? Connected your wallet, dabbling in those TON transactions we talked about, actively participating, the whole 9 yards, but you weren't, one of those super early birds. Would you still end up with a decent chunk of that airdrop?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it? And this is where it gets really interesting because, yeah, sure, being an early adopter, that gave you a head start. But it wasn't the only way to get a good amount of tokens. Remember all those criteria we talked about? Connecting your wallet, using TON, the boosts, inviting your friends, all of those things. They all added to your final score.
It's like a loyalty program or something.
Exactly.
Like maybe you're not flying every week, but you use your credit card, you rent a car, book a hotel, all those points add up.
I like that. That's a great way to put it. And with Xempire, those extra points, they could mean a huge difference in your final token allocation. We've seen people, maybe they didn't join right at the beginning, but they still snagged millions of tokens just by really using the platform,
Yeah.
and taking advantage of those bonus mechanisms.
Millions of tokens, huh? That's not bad at all. Okay, so we know understanding the airdrop criteria was super important. But what about those of us who maybe we're not so comfortable with all the technical stuff? Is there a way to like wrap our heads around this whole allocation thing without needing a degree in, I don't know, cryptography? I mean, it can feel pretty overwhelming sometimes, right? All this technical stuff flying around.
Totally, totally. But hey, that's what we're here for, right? To break it down. Now, there's no magic formula to calculate your exact allocation, but our sources, they did give us a good place to start.
Right. The, what was it they called it? The hack.
Yeah, the hack. But it's not like, hacking into the mainframe or anything.
Right.
Think of it more like a quick and dirty calculation,
So how does this quick and dirty calculation work?
Okay, so say you were putting in the time farming those Xempire tokens, right? Take your average earnings per hour, whatever that is, divided by 100,000. Then you take that number and multiply it by 0.0002. And that'll give you a rough idea of how much your allocation might be worth.
Okay, so that actually sounds surprisingly straightforward, but big caveat here, right? This isn't an exact science by any means.
Exactly. Yeah, this is more of a compass, not a map, It'll point you in the right direction, but it doesn't take into account all those little variables, all those bumps in the road.
Like the halving we talked about before.
Exactly, yeah. Or all those bonus points you might have racked up from, using TON, inviting your friends, all those things. They all factor in when it comes to your final allocation.
So use this as a starting point, something to get you thinking, but maybe don't base any major investment decisions on this number alone, right?
100%. It's about seeing the bigger picture, understanding all the moving parts, and using that knowledge to make smart choices.
And speaking of knowledge, for our listeners who want to learn even more about this whole airdrop world, maybe explore other opportunities or just geek out with other crypto fans, we've got you covered.
That's right. Be sure to check out our video description. We've got links to some other exciting airdrops, projects that are really making waves in the crypto space.
And if you want those insights in real time with a side of community spirit, come join us over on our Telegram channel.
Yeah, we've got an awesome community over there, tons of crypto enthusiasts, sharing insights, breaking down trends, navigating this wild world together. You can find the link to join in the video description as well.
Awesome. So wrapping up our deep dive into the Xempire airdrop, let's leave our listeners with this. Timing matters, engagement matters, and knowing the rules of the game, that's where the real power is.
Absolutely. This world, the crypto world, it rewards those who are proactive, those who do their research, those who dig a little deeper, Don't just dip your toes in, dive in head first. But, maybe bring some knowledge and a sense of adventure with you.
I'm going to set it better myself. And hey, remember, the journey of 1,000 crypto games, it all starts with a single airdrop. Happy exploring, everyone. And until next time, may your allocations be plentiful.